And as some of you know, I've been working on this book for of the Book of Thoth. About 3.5 years ago, my publisher contacted me, just the end of COVID, and they said, "Do you want to write a commentary on the Book of Thoth?" Yeah, of course. It's we had the idea of doing footnotes, and great idea. I'll have it done in 6 months. That didn't go very well.
Frida Harris and Crowley said that one time as well.
Yeah.
I'll have it done in 6 months.
Yeah, well, yeah. We hope springs eternal. So, I went through all of the memes, every single meme that you can think of, every single cliche about the Book of Thoth. Because I've been reading this book for over 30 years. It's not like a new idea, you know? I spent 30 years not understanding it, and I started writing, trying to research this, still didn't understand it. So I went through hell for months, sort of years actually, basically, just dealing with crap, getting nowhere, heavy, dark dreams, evil demons, the lot. And I was sort of, as when my neighbor, he used to come down for a coffee, and I would regale him with the latest version of what the Book of Thoth is. And 2 days later, he come down. Oh yeah, he said, "How's that sort? Scrap that. I'm on this new one." A couple of days later, he come down for a coffee. How's it? No, scrap that. Didn't work. I'm on a new. This one's going to work. I know it's going to work. He come back 2 days later. No, didn't work. So I spend a lot of time just going through stuff. Doesn't work. Doesn't work. Doesn't work. Doesn't work. Doesn't work. Doesn't work. And I wasn't getting anywhere with the cards either, which is a strange kind of thing as well. Because I thought, well, that's the thing. The Book of Thoth is these things. And but eventually I cottoned on to studying the part of the book that everyone ignores, including me. And it's the part where he talks about where the tarot comes from. And you think he's just raking over the old ground. There's nothing to see here, you know? And then I started looking at it and going into a bit more detail and started realizing that there's a different narrative, a different story coming out here. And then I started looking back at, the back of the book where people don't bother with much as well. And there's things in there. And that's, it started to sort of kind of percolate. There's a different story. I think I'd seen the publisher about 3 times since I started the book. He's seen a totally different version every time.
Does he
Always there.
understand? But does he understand it?
Yeah, he
Not being,
does. Well,
not being a Thoth Tarot
well,
aficionado.
what he is,
Is he?
he knows his Crowleyana very well. It's surprising actually. And so when I finally wrote this book, and what usually happens with my publisher and me, especially with the first book, we'd figure out all the chapters. There's going to be 11 chapters, and he said we'll pair up the cards. I think that's a stupid idea, but anyway, turned out a brilliant idea. So
You're
I did
talking
that
about
with
the
the
Tarot
Tarot
and the
and the
Magus.
Magus,
Yeah.
you know. And the second book, Beyond the Celtic Cross, I'd kind of written that already. My publisher said, "Oh, interested," and that was difficult to organize in the right order as well. See, the problem with the Book of Thoth is that it's circular. You're always going round in a circle. So wherever you start, you're going to end up back there. It's a spiral, of course, so you've ended up a little bit higher up, but it's still, you're always going around in a circle, which makes it a bastard to write about because you can't do a beginning, middle, end, you know? So I had to find a way of writing about these things. And, I kind of did the narrative of Crowley's narrative of where the tarot comes from and his experiences and all these other things. And then there's a lot of gematria that came out as well, because there's those diagrams on page 11, the 3 diagrams, and they're actually the key to the story of the Book of Thoth. So that was kind of decoded and deciphered. I've got some students who worked on that, and they're brilliant. They came up with stuff that I hadn't thought of. And there's tons of gematria as well that we had to go through. And then I had my own ideas of Crowley's writings. And so he ended up kind of putting things in a strange sort of pattern. And so my publisher, after the editing, he came up with a brilliant organizational way of relating to the things that go on there. So which seems to work. And it is a strange experience reading my own writing because I don't remember writing this stuff.
I have that too.
Yeah, I mean, there's been quite a few PDFs they send me of the formatting and how the book's going to look, and I'm thinking I really need to put this in. The third one, I'm thinking I really need to put this in. I'm going through. Oh, it's in there, and that's the way I was going to write about it. So it's clearly it's channeled or something because I'm consciously typing and doing all those things, but no memory whatsoever.
It means you're doing it right.
Sorry?
It means you're doing it right.
Well, I think so. I think so. It's I've shown a few people and what they've said about the book because I didn't know what I'd written. It's really weird experience.
It's a compelling read, and I like your writing style as well.
Oh, thank you. Oh, that's good.
The way you write, it encourages to continue reading. Unlike Crowley at times, where
Well, I had to slightly cherry pick on stuff. You can't just, there's quite a few repetitive themes in Crowley's writings on the tarot.
It's all repetitive in the end. It's all about the same thing in the end.
Absolutely. I mean, we're joking about us being obsessed about the tarot. You have no idea how obsessed Crowley was with the Book of Thoth. The tarot, the whole thing, all his life, from 1900, and before that, he's been obsessed about the tarot and what it means and how it works, and you can see it in all of his writings. Because this is the thing, you got to read all of his writings, not just not just the bits that people say. No, you got to read everything, and
the holy books.
Yeah, not just them. And you just.
They are a tough read, the holy books.
Well, exactly. I think that's why they're the holy books. Come to that conclusion. So
but there is a lot in there.
Yeah. And so you end up reading everything that Crowley's ever written, not once, not twice, but 3, 4, 5 times.
And then every now and then you go on a wild goose hunt looking for a book that turns out not to exist.
Yes, I've done that. Finding stuff that is brilliant, I can't find again. I think that's what the Book of Thoth does. It makes you read Crowley's writings because you can't. Yes. There isn't a context.
The Book of Thoth is like a manual through his writings, because it is through the Book of Thoth in itself. The contents, it's just pretty basic, but it refers to other books. Oh. And if you bother to look these books up, then you get what it's really about.
That's right. Yeah. This is kind of a strange thing, because in the tarot world, people think that studying the cards tells you something. But actually, the cards are just a representation of certain ideas that Crowley had. And you actually have to think backwards, from his book back to all his other stuff. So with the tarot cards, you just go like that, this card, this card, this card, this card. But actually, you have to go back to all his writings, back to 1900 and earlier. Yeah. It is, and you get a really good grounding of what Crowley's about and what he's done and everything else.
I know it's not a very original metaphor, but every card is like an onion.
Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you something. I'm not yet ready to properly write about the tarot cards themselves. I'm just still not ready. After all of this, I'm still thinking, because this book is not about the cards as such. It is about how they're written with Frieda Harris, but that's a different story. But actually, go on.
Well, the Book of Thoth is like the window of a shop.
Yeah.
And your book is about what actually goes on in that shop behind the window.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, it's I'm I'm quite inspired by it actually because I think this can be a golden era for the Book of Thoth. Finally, it's it's not a academic book with loads of footnotes. I haven't done that. I've just kind of, there's all these ways of looking at how Crowley looked at the tower and sort of stuff, and here they are. And it's up to you to actually go deeper into them. But it should be a golden age of, and people can write books saying, I wrote rubbish, or they can say, well, Paul, you didn't take it far enough. I don't know which way that's going to go.
But I haven't had the time to elaborately read your book. Like one thing that I liked about your book that makes it readable is that it's chopped up into quite not too big readable chapters.
Yeah.
We are in an age now where people watch YouTube videos and they watch reels, and everything has to be short. And I think your book plays in on that. How do you say that?
I guess so. Yeah, I mean, some of the chapters are quite large,
I
but
didn't read the whole thing, but I went through it, and that was my impression. That
yeah, I think it's they're like vignettes. There's sort of little insights into certain aspects of things from the Book of the Law and also from the Book of Lies as well. And